Bernie Sanders is surging. I actually caught the other day that Nate Silver, who has had this like bizarre, embarrassing, pathological vendetta against Bernie Sanders and against progressive politics more broadly, was actually on ABC News, I believe, saying, yes, Bernie Sanders is absolutely positioned to win, which goes against everything he's been saying constantly for months. I think I've always thought on some levels this is a Biden-Sanders race. And, you know, and also this goes contrary to what a lot of people in this space think, which is that I don't think Biden is out. I don't. I think Biden is so much more resilient than people realize. And I think the fact that he has slipped in Iowa and New Hampshire, although those would be the places he would slip. I think the fact that Joe Biden, who there is, look, I think there's certain things that he does that we don't like, certain ways he yells at protesters, some of which are, I think, objectively make him look bad and are disgusting. Others of which I think are gross, but I see how they play well, frankly. But I think that watching him in debates, regardless of content, and seeing the fact that he clearly is he's missing some steps, is as polite as I could put it. He still leads, and he still is a generally popular figure. I think people need to get much more serious about how formidable he is. And conversely, Bernie Sanders has a movement. He has grassroots energy in a way that is completely unparalleled in modern politics, and a systemic agenda to fit with it. I think those are the poles of where the policy questions are right now, as well as temperamentally. Sanders and the squad, Biden and the status quo. And then other people are playing different variations on different themes. But those are the choices, and those are the two lead candidates. I think it's interesting how that lines up. Here's Bernie Sanders talking about campaign contributions.
My opponents will tell you that campaign contributions from the wealthy and the powerful don't have an impact. Why do you think these CEOs are making contributions? When you make those contributions, you're first in line to get your concerns taken care of. I believe in democracy, not billionaires owning the system. Our campaign is funded by the working people of this country. We need to take on all of the corporate elite. We need a government that works for working families, not just big campaign contributors. I'm Bernie Sanders, and I approve this message.
I'm thrilled at how much better these ads are getting. That was really disturbing to me for a long time. I thought some of the ads they were putting out were cookie cutter, boring. And, you know, for all of the other things, the grassroots organizing, the role you can play with phone banking and so on, the role of social media, all of this stuff is profoundly important. But we still are a television country. And even on social media, I mean, those 30-second clips to be that effective and clear is incredibly important. So that's a really encouraging sign from the campaign.
We should just point to this NBC News article here. Has an interesting thing at the way bottom. Single-payer Medicare for all still popular with Democrats. As the Democratic candidates continue to draw battle lines over healthcare policy, the survey finds that a single-payer government healthcare plan that would eliminate private insurance garners the support of nearly 7 in 10 Democratic primary voters, 68%. In September, 63% said the same, so that's a 5-point bump.
Also, and Brendan Sutton pointed this out, who we had on the show a couple weeks ago. Hopefully he'll be a Friday guest more. Brilliant. Please follow Pretty Bad Lefty on Twitter. He said, like, anytime somebody just tells you that support for single payer has dropped in the polls, like it's like some vacuum, be really clear about two things. First thing, I'll get right out of the way. People won't like it. Elizabeth Warren, the way she's handled it, is absolutely hurting the cause of single payer on a political level. Sorry, undeniable. I'm sure plenty of people would deny it. Probably people
Sam
would,
said as much as well.
Absolutely. I mean,
taken
again,
the effectiveness of costs over raising taxes out of the equation.
100%. She introduced a regressive measure to keep. I mean, so again, I'm not going to belabor it. I know the criticism triggers certain people, and I'm willing to take that triggering. But just to be really clear, if Bernie Sanders somehow got into a position where he did like this Rube Goldberg thing where he costed it out, it's going to be in 2 parts. I mean, first of all, obviously he wouldn't do that because it's a core issue for him. But I mean, look, I can't think of an equivalent issue at the moment, but I'm just saying on an objective political level, she has harmed that effort. And then the other thing that has happened is that there is a systemic and relentless propaganda effort. Democratic staffers from Clinton and the Obama administrations are hired by insurance companies to lie, to spread propaganda and misinformation. Pete Buttigieg and Joe Biden are out here fear-mongering about this every single day. Every single question that the moderators in the debates have had about this have been framed in a negative way. So if there's a couple drops in the polls, it's because a major candidate has put out a plan for it, which is extremely ineffective and is correlated with her own decline in the polls. And this is never going to change, there is a massive propaganda effort against this already that will only intensify. So be real.
That's why Neera Tanden coming on Twitter and saying, actually, the wall is more popular than single payer. Well, guess what? The wall has the entire support of the right. And people like in high positions like Neera Tanden are kneecapping single payer every chance they get.
There you go. I mean, frankly, and you know, it's so funny because that's actually such a perfect symmetry with the fantasy life that so many establishment elite Democrats have about never Trump Republicans who have no constituency, no power, don't represent anything in reality. If there was actually a never Trump constituency in the Republican Party, then you would see people with actual power trying to kneecap racist initiatives, which you will never see because it has nothing to do with the Republican Party. But there's plenty of people, most people with institutional power in the Democratic Party that are willing to be propagandists, paid or otherwise, free of charge for the insurance industry and the HMOs.
I mean, Jim Messina.
Jim Messina, I'm assuming has plenty of clients like that.